The schedule this year is very similar to last year. We had to change our opener. They kind of shifted our schedule in terms of the NCAA this year. We seem to have lost a week, and it caused everybody to change their openers. So we opened last year at Tampa. This year we open at Southeastern University. It should be pretty low-key. After that, we get going. We're back at the Mountain Dew Invitational at the University of Florida. We'll find out a lot there. It should be a good meet. There's going to be a lot of D1 teams there, some really good D2 teams there. So we'll sort of get our first test there, and then we head to Tampa for their pre-regional. It's the South region, which isn't the region that we're in, but we'll actually face better teams in the South region than we would going to our own region preview up in Charlotte, and it's a much easier trip for us to make. So it's a good meet for us there at the end of September, where we'll learn a lot about the team. So we really have two bang-bang meets where we're really put up against it. There's no softies for us in the beginning. It should be a real good test. And then once we get into October, it's the same as last year. We go to Florida State, second week of October. Again, a lot of Division I schools, Division II schools. Should be tough. It's a great course. It's hilly, so it'll really help us for Charlotte, where we know that there's one hill that we'll do twice. And if we do well at Florida State, we're set up well for the region and the conference. And then we get into our championship segment, where we've got the Peach Belt Championships at the end of October and the regional championships at the beginning of November. Everything that we have up to that point is just leading us up to there. So we'll have some good teams that we race against. We'll learn a lot about ourselves, but hopefully it's all just leading up to a big peak at the end of October, beginning of November. Pretty short, sweet season. I feel like every year the season gets a little bit shorter, and this year it did get shorter by a week. So we got our work cut out for us. Got to get a lot of work done in a little bit of time. The conference in 2013 doesn't get any easier for us. We've got the conference champions from last year, Columbus State. They lose nobody, and they were very young to begin with, so you can only expect them to be a little bit faster. The next team, Augusta, who's now Georgia Regents, they also retained their top five, so they're bringing everybody back, and they picked up the conference champion from last year, Pardon. I'm going to butcher his last name, so I won't, but from UNC Pembroke. He's now one of the assistant coaches there. I'm sure he's training with the guys, so they're going to be a strong group as well. And those were the top two from last year. They beat us by, in the case of Columbus, it was almost a minute. The average time was about a minute faster on their team than it was on ours. And then Georgia was a little under 30 seconds per man on average faster. So we had pretty much a perfect storm last year. Everything came together for us at the conference championships. We finished third by a narrow margin. It's the highest we'd ever finished on the men's side. And we had a few people step up in a big way. We bring back most of that team, which is the good news. We lost Derek Cassiano, who's the captain last year. He stepped up for us huge, was our number 4 runner. So losing him is going to hurt. What we talked about all off-season was coming back. Let's repeat as number 3 or possibly move up. Moving up is going to be a challenge because nobody's slowing down. The conference is only getting faster each year. So it's certainly going to be a tough task for us. We've got a work cut out for us, but certainly it's something that we can do. We're aiming for the top 3. That's where we want to be. But also the teams behind us have added new runners, and they're looking for us as well. We didn't beat UNC Pembroke by much, and Clayton State was right behind them. So there's certainly two teams that are going to be gunning for us. I know they didn't enjoy losing to us. Georgia College is bringing in some great runners, and Young Harris added a lot this year as well. So it's going to be a tough conference for us, but I think we've got a good group coming back, and we've added a couple of new kids who are going to help us out in a big way. Two newcomers of note are Andrew Smith out of Ridgeview High School and Tyler Jowers from Mandarin High School. They are expected to come in and be one of our two of our top 4 runners. We return our top 3 from last year, but one of our all-conference runners, Dylan Hodge, is having some eligibility issues as far as getting into practice, so we may or may not have him at full strength this year. If we do get him out to practice, it's my understanding that his summer was not what it needed to be, and we'll be playing catch-up. And against the runners that we've got to face this year in our conference, you just can't play catch-up and be okay. So these 2 freshmen coming in, Andrew Smith and Tyler Jowers, are really going to have to step up in a big way. And that's a tough situation for a freshman to have to be in, because there's a transition going from a 5K to a 10K at the championship level here at the NCAA. You can always hope that it's going to go well, but you never know until they get into it. And in the case of Andrew Smith, actually, and Tyler, they're both more middle distance runners on the track, 800, 1500 guys. So they've got the wheels. Now it's just a matter of us getting them through the training and getting the strength that they need to be able to adapt to the distance. And we've got Luke Paris, who's from Richmond, Virginia. He is more of a walk-on, sort of hoping to carve out a spot on the roster. He's been working very hard, and though this year he probably won't be competing for a top 7 spot, if he keeps doing what he's been doing the last couple weeks in preseason, I expect some big things at him in the next couple years. So our 3 newcomers on the men's side are expected to do a lot for us, and though there aren't that many, 3 isn't a huge number, they're impact runners. So I really think it puts us in a good spot moving forward. Roster this year for the men, we don't lose a lot. We lose Derek Cassiano, and we probably lose more in his leadership than we do in what he contributed on the course. He was our number 4 finisher at the biggest meets last year, which was huge for us. But we bring back everybody else. Matt Goodman last year was our number 5, and he battled injuries through the summer and had to start late. He's actually doing a similar thing this year. He's starting a little earlier than he did a year before, so he'll be following a similar path as far as trying to get fit late in the season, which is always tough. But since he's ahead of where he was last year at this time, we feel pretty encouraged about that. Number 4 and up looks to be our 2 freshmen, Andrew Smith, Tyler Jowers. Probably going to be our 3 and 4 by the looks of things in practice. And then our 1 and 2 coming back are going to be Corey Mundy, who is all-conference returning from a year ago. He has had the best summer any of our Flagler runners have had to date. He stayed in town and was just crushing it. So we expect to have a big year from him. He understands, though, that this early season is just stepping stone to get to where we want to be at the end of the year, and we're going to be very smart about our build-up. Eric Hartley, same, stayed here this summer and actually trained with Corey for most of it, and those 2 are pretty close to each other in practice. And if Corey looks to be one of the top guys in the conference in the region, Eric is only a few steps behind him. So top 5 looks to be similar to last year, with the exception of the 2 freshmen sliding in at the 3 and 4. Matt Goodman probably going to be there at the 5. Dylan Hodge is the real question mark. We don't know what we're going to get out of him this year. He was all-conference a year ago as a freshman, but didn't have a great summer, and we're going to be playing catch-up. So it'll just be a question of how fit we can get and how fast. So top 5 looks to be those guys, and then we've got a good group coming back that are going to form up a pack right behind the top 5. We got Chad Jones, who's a local product. He should be right there, and if anybody slips in the 5 spot, then he should be right there to pick up the slack. Another returner is a senior, Zach Shave, who's also, I guess you could call him local, but he's from Pittsburgh originally. He is going to fill the shoes of Derek Cassiano. Derek was one of the better leaders we've had, and losing him is going to hurt, but Zach steps in, and we really don't miss a beat there. So Justin Talavera is going to be right there at the 5 as well. He's actually, probably didn't give him enough credit there, he's actually been our number 5, and sometimes our number 4 or even 3, running with the 2 newcomers. So Justin had a great summer, stayed here, best summer he's ever put in. We're really in a unique situation this year for us in that it's not a concrete list as far as who's where. It's in the past been pretty firm as far as who's our number 1, who's our number 2, who's our number 3. This year it could be a little bit more mixed up when we start talking about 3, 4, 5. So Justin Talavera, who's from California, a senior, another one of the leaders, could be there as well. I do expect big things from him, so hopefully what we've got is our 2 returning all-conference runners, 2 freshmen, and then a bunch of returners right there mixing it up to form a pack that's going to be 3 through 7 all running together. Best case scenario is that. The freshman Luke Paris will then probably be coming in right behind that pack with Justin East and Dylan Hodge. We just don't know about, so it's still a little early for us to say exactly where we're going to be come late October. Yeah, the number 7 regional ranking is nice. We had a great year last year. We stepped up. We ran personal bests to a man. All 5 runners ran a personal best at the conference meet, and then 2 weeks later, all 5 runners ran personal bests again at the regional meet. The meet was held on a course that wasn't marked properly. It wasn't the correct distance. Many of the coaches were out there with a wheel the day before checking it out. So if you look at the 10K times, you may not be wowed by them, but it was a little long when you measured it out. Through the 8K, they all split personal best, though, so I know through the 10K they were there as well. if you subtract the time that it would take to run the extra distance, they were right there at PR. So, I mean, we had a fantastic day. We edged out some teams that maybe we didn't think we had a chance to beat in early September. So, that ranking is that team speaking. We had Dylan Hodge running at a high level last year. We had Corey Mundy at the front. We had Eric Hartley near the front. So, does that say we're going to be a top 7 team this year? Yeah, you just don't know. It's too early to know. We're honored that they're ranked top 7, but we won't know anything until late September, probably, about where we really stand. We've got potential, and I think that's what the rankings preseason really speak to, is who's got the best potential, who's got the capability to be number 1. You know, if one guy goes down, you just don't know. Columbus is probably the odds-on favorite, and they deserve the ranking that they have. They lose a couple guys, you just don't know, and we're in the same situation. We're 7th. Could we finish higher? Absolutely, and we hope to. That's been our goal all year long, is to be one of the teams that's in the conversation for top 3. And I think if everything goes well, we can be there. But certainly, what you tell me we're going to finish in August doesn't mean a whole heck of a lot. So we're looking forward to proving them right in the case of finishing top 7, and then proving them wrong in the case of only ranking us 7th. So yeah, it's nice, but again, it's just a ranking, and they don't mean much.